Victor Lane didn't flinch when she screamed. I knew right then she picked the wrong guy to push. Didn't turn when her finger jabbed the air an inch from his cheek. He just tightened the valve. One slow click. Behind him, the stone bridge cracked open like a secret no one wanted told. Behind her, 4 men froze. Steel cables limp midair. She kept barking orders into the radio, thinking noise could stop water. It couldn't. Victor didn't answer, didn't blink. He was counting, not seconds. Consequences. And the whole town? They were about to learn who'd been holding the line all along. Victor Lane didn't like speeches. Didn't make them when his father died. Didn't make them when they named the bridge after his grandfather. Didn't say a word when they paved over the marker stone last fall. He just showed up every morning, 5:40 sharp, coffee in one hand, ledger in the other, and walked the length of the reservoir wall like he had for the last 19 years. They thought he was a relic, an old contract no one bothered to terminate. Dean Holdings, a name on a plaque no one read anymore. Except he did hold something she hadn't checked. The floodgate license, signed in 1923, renewed without fail, never transferred. And Victor? He never argued. He kept receipts, photos, flow data, memos from city engineers who thought no one still read email footers. He knew she'd show up eventually. That kind always did. Tall heels, tight briefcase, eyes that scan, not see. They walk in like the law was born yesterday, and they gave it its first name. But Victor wasn't waiting for a fight. He was waiting for her to lose her balance, because power never slips all at once. It shifts, one overlooked line item at a time. And while she yelled across the water, he was already 12 steps ahead, quietly stacking stones, placing weight, watching for the crack to open right where it always does. It started with a clipboard, not a vote, not a letter. Just a woman with glossed lips and a new title, knocking on every porch like she owned the ZIP code. Routine infrastructure review, she smiled. No eye contact, just forms, deadlines, threats with a bow on top. She wasn't elected. She was installed. The kind of HOA queen who didn't sip coffee, she issued citations. Lawn height, mailbox color, unauthorized stone bridges. Victor heard the rumors before he saw her. That she'd ordered the path widened. That she'd sent engineers to assess safety. That she'd said the bridge was outdated. Cute, but technically non-compliant. It was when the plaque disappeared that he folded the newspaper in half. Didn't curse, didn't stand, just folded it and walked out to the tool shed. The next morning, a paper notice flapped on his gate. Site review in progress. Temporary access required. No signature, no seal. But the construction tape was real. So were the boots stomping over gravel at 6 a.m. She didn't knock. She radioed from the top of the levee like she was directing troops. Spoke in acronyms. Pointed like a traffic cop. The crane moved. The bridge groaned. Victor just stood there, still holding his mug, watching men pull apart what his grandfather built with bare hands. She thought he was stunned, paralyzed by her efficiency. But what she didn't notice was what he tapped, once, with his toe. A rusted pipe head, one of 6, marked on the original blueprint still rolled in his back room. That pipe was legacy, and leverage, and licensed exclusively to him. And while she posed for her HOA update photos, he was already drafting the reply no one saw coming, because it wouldn't be a letter. It would be a drought, measured, legal, unstoppable. Sometimes the loudest person isn't the one with the most power. Maybe you've seen it too. Someone who pushes just because they think no one will push back. If this story's stirring something in you, stay with it. This one doesn't end the way they think it will. Victor didn't argue. He mapped, not online, not Google. He pulled out the original survey. Thick parchment, initials in ink, long dead. A crease ran through parcel 9, right where her dig team had parked the backhoe. She didn't know the line crossed there, didn't see the handwritten note in the margin. Water control valve, private, inherited, do not reroute. Victor didn't send a lawyer. He sent a coffee to the city clerk, then requested a clarification meeting about boundary overlays. He spoke once, laid the survey flat, didn't raise his voice, just tapped the corner of the page, twice. By afternoon, the clerk's assistant flagged the HOA's permit, pending verification, which meant stalled, and the crane, frozen mid-pivot, one steel arm suspended like a held breath. She didn't blink. She shifted tactics. A memo hit inboxes by nightfall from acting HOA interim chair. Subject: unauthorized use of water authority equipment. They wanted to audit his license now. Victor smiled, just barely. He didn't reply. He went quiet again. But that's what traps need: stillness. Next morning, someone from Parcel 11, a fence-sitting neighbor, came by with coffee, said, "Between us, was that bridge really yours to keep?" Victor didn't answer. He just handed over a second copy of the survey, with 2 signatures traced in fountain pen. One, his father's, the other, the county's. Dated 1923, stamped in wax. By lunch, that neighbor had posted in the HOA group chat, "Wait, anyone seen this clause before?" The message got 14 likes, then 3 typing dots appeared, then silence. She hadn't noticed the shift, but Victor had. It started in the pauses, the skipped greetings, the fact that no one CC'd her anymore. The town was still quiet, but not neutral. They were watching. And Victor? He was already pulling the blueprint for the water pressure grid, because the next valve fed the clubhouse lawn. She filed a complaint. Formal, lengthy, full of bold fonts and legal jargon. Accused Victor of negligence, abuse of license, failure to disclose infrastructure conflicts. It landed on his porch in a glossy envelope, timed for 9 a.m., delivered by a smug intern who asked, "You Dean?" Victor just nodded once, then shut the door. Inside, he didn't pace, didn't call anyone. He opened a drawer and took out a photo, sepia tone, 4 boys on a bridge, barefoot, laughing. One of them held a wrench. He placed it beside the envelope, then walked to the shed. That afternoon, Victor arrived uninvited to the HOA's community check-in. No emotion, no fanfare. Just a man with a binder and a printed smile. She stood at the front, immaculate as ever, reading from a prepared statement. She called him non-compliant, questioned the integrity of his license. Victor waited, didn't speak until she was done. Then he walked to the projector, slid in one page, then another, each one clearer than the last. First, the 1923 deed. Second, the county water map, annotated in red. Third, a maintenance log, her signature authorizing the dig without full inspection. Her smile twitched. Victor didn't stop. Fourth page, HOA minutes. The meeting she claimed existed never happened, because it was the week she was in Aspen. He didn't accuse, didn't even look at her, just read the timestamps, one by one. In the back, someone whispered, "Wait, she lied?" Then came the 5th document, a copy of the email chain, her request to remove the bridge before tourist season, CC'd to developers, BCC'd to investors. Victor had red-circled one line. "The old structure is sentimental but obsolete." He paused, just enough. Then placed the photo of the boys on the table. "You called it obsolete." His voice didn't rise, didn't crack. "But my brother never made it past 17. He died on that bridge, trying to fix the valve, because we couldn't afford a new pipe." Silence. Someone near the back stood up, said, "Jesus!" Another, "You're kidding me." Victor closed the binder, didn't look at her once, walked out before anyone could ask more. Outside, wind moved the gravel. No one followed. Inside, 3 people quietly removed her name from the meeting notes. She came back swinging, 3 days later, polished, prepared, and more dangerous than before. Her new claim? Victor had violated Emergency Code 14C, manipulating flow during pending civil inquiry. She said it loud, in front of press, board, and 5 neighbors who owed her favors. The words landed like bullets. Victor, this time, looked tired, like a man about to fold. Someone gasped when a marshal stepped forward. "The county is requesting full access to Dean Holdings infrastructure for inspection." Victor didn't resist, just nodded, but he said one thing. "To inspect, you'll need the full map." The marshal paused. Victor handed him a tube. old, weathered. Stamped, County Reservoir, Master Blueprints, 1952. He turned to leave. She smirked. "You're gonna need a better lawyer." He didn't answer. That night, the inspection began. 3 officials, 1 floodlight. Victor didn't show. But by dawn, someone noticed something. Page 7 of the blueprint, a notation written in faded ink. Bypass valve B3, routed beneath HOA district perimeter, emergency only, licensed to Dean Holdings under grandfather clause. Meaning, Victor never touched HOA property. She had. Her expansion dug 3 feet into protected land. The permit only covered 2. The inspector's face turned pale. She showed up with coffee and confidence, wearing another white suit, until someone handed her a copy of her own signature on a landscaping approval, backdated, illegally. The twist? Victor hadn't fought her in public. He'd filed nothing, said nothing. But every permit, every blueprint, every faded note, he'd resubmitted through the county historian's office 2 weeks ago. The new archive entry, live, time-stamped, public. The board gathered again, this time without her. She wasn't asked to explain, because they had already seen the vote log. Her vote had overwritten a protected structure, without quorum. She'd broken her own charter. Neighbors stared. No one said sorry, just silence. Victor? He didn't come to the meeting, didn't need to. He was back at the valve, turning it twice, steady. And far away, someone began scraping her name off the mailbox, 1 letter at a time. Victor Lane didn't show up for the meeting, but the water did. By 6 a.m., the reservoir had returned to its line. Not an inch more, not a drop wasted. No announcement, no ribbon. Just flow. The bridge stood, not new, not pristine, but standing. Steel bolts and stone, like someone meant it to last. No plaque ceremony, just one man, the next morning, brushing moss off the original foundation. Victor didn't speak, didn't wave. He just looked down at a boot print that didn't match his. Next to it, wedged in the dirt, a nail, bent, old brass, still warm from sunlight. He picked it up, turned it once in his palm, then walked back. Not fast, not slow, just like someone finishing something, not escaping anything. Nobody mentioned her name again. Her car never left the HOA lot. Someone said she took personal leave. Someone else whispered she got bought out. Didn't matter. Her email bounced. Her clipboard vanished. On Friday, a boy knocked on Victor's porch, held up a jar of nails he found by the creek. "Yours?" Victor nodded. "Keep 'em," he said. "Good metal." That night, he sat by the window. Same chair, same folded map on the sill. Outside, the floodlights shut off one by one. In the dark, the bridge still held. He leaned back, exhaled once, then whispered, maybe to the map, maybe to no one. Not everyone builds to win. Some just build so no one forgets. Sometimes the loudest person isn't the one with the most power. Maybe you've seen it too. Someone who pushes just because they think no one will push back. If this story's stirring something in you, stay with it. This one doesn't end the way they think it will.